But in the season finale, the guy taking them for a joyride isn't one of Silver's goons, it's Mike. And he's just looking for some payback because he feels like Daniel was the one who burned down the furniture store and ruined his life. Chosen tries to start talking to Mike. Johnny, though, who's very inebriated, starts trying to fight Mike, but eventually Daniel gets in the middle of it. Mike just doesn't know what to do. He had everything invested in that store, and now he's lost it all, including his family. And Daniel explains that it wasn't him who did this, it was Silver, because Silver's made all of their lives a living hell. Mike starts screaming that he wants to do this thing tonight, go to Silver's house and beat him up. And Daniel tries to talk him out of it, but the issue is Chosen and Johnny are on Mike's side. They also want to go to Silver's and make him pay. So Daniel ends up getting outvoted. And instead of dragging Daniel along, Mike, Chosen, and Johnny hop back in the limo and leave Daniel there. With nowhere else to turn, Daniel has to call Amanda and explain that he was left on the side of the road. He doesn't even know where he is, but he needs a ride. But as Amanda is trying to process all this, somebody pulls up to her house, and she tells Daniel, somebody's here, and they're from Cobra Kai. Daniel's cell service is so bad, though, that his phone cuts out. So now he's frantically trying to get home. He finds a bunch of guys on the side of the road, and he tries to get them to give him a ride, but they're more interested in mugging Daniel. Luckily, though, the person from Cobra Kai was just Stingray in his Cobra Kai car. And he didn't show up at the LaRussa household to do anything bad. He showed up there to help out. So Amanda hops in the car, and they pull up on Daniel just as he's about to fight these guys. And the reason that Stingray is helping out is because he received a mass text message to all the Cobra Kai kids that some Miyagi-Do kids were in the dojo and they were setting up an ambush. So instead of heading to Terry Silver's place to help out Johnny, they head to the dojo to help out the kids. And Johnny, Chosen, and Mike could use the help. Mike's the only sober one, and he gets knocked out pretty quickly. Johnny and Chosen are putting up a really good fight, but they're doing so against a bunch of Kim senseis. Terry Silver is watching all of this from his security camera footage. He's not concerned at all, even when Chosen comes and finds him. And a drunk Chosen finally gets his opportunity to kick Terry Silver's ass and make him beg for mercy. He does a pretty good job, and he definitely doesn't panic when Silver grabs one of his katanas. The fight actually leads the two outside near the pool. Silver armed with his katana, and Chosen with sais that he just had on him, because he always comes strapped. Silver cuts Chosen up pretty good, but Chosen is able to scoop Silver, and he's got him dead to rights. Silver doesn't beg for mercy. He begs to die, saying, "I was born to die on the battlefield." Chosen, though, doesn't get the opportunity. He hears Johnny cry out, and when he looks over, Silver grabs the katana and slices up Chosen's back. Chosen's left in the pool, bleeding out. And Johnny cried out because he's getting his ass beat. The four senseis that are left are really teeing off on Johnny. Silver starts criticizing Johnny and the group for attacking him on his own turf, bragging about the fact that he never stood a chance. But then he says, if it's any consolation, at least he won't be around to screw up another kid. He then doesn't finish Johnny off. He tells the senseis to do it for him. Silver then leaves to go meet Kim, who headed to the dojo to deal with the intruders. That grown woman has no problem beating on some children. Kim's senseis, though, are not able to finish Johnny off. He's getting beat up once again, but then the sonogram photo comes out and he gets a motivation. He harnesses all of that dad strength and starts teeing off on him. And the last one is actually taken out by Mike, who has come to at this point and helps Johnny out. Now, I've been alluding to it all episode, but the Miyagi-Do kids headed over to Cobra Kai to try to steal the surveillance footage that Silver had on hand from the old dojo, proving what he did to Stingray. They're able to get in pretty easily, and Dimitri starts going to work on trying to get the file. The issue is that Stingray file is corrupted. They're not going to be able to use it. And Tori points out that they might be able to use the footage from when her and Silver were talking about the situation. So Dimitri grabs it and he starts trying to download it, but it's going to take some time. By this point, Silver has noticed what the kids are doing on his security camera footage, and maybe it was he who alerted his students to the fact that they had intruders. Because while Miguel, Hawk, Dimitri, Robbie, Sam, and Tori worked on the file, Anthony, Bert, and a slew of others were standing guard. But one of those was Mitch, who's been kind of hiding in the background, but he wasn't treated too well at Miyagi-Do. They gave him nicknames he didn't like, and he just got transfixed by the flashiness of Cobra Kai. So he ends up crossing over, and it was he who alerted everybody in that group text to what was happening. But the Miyagi-Do kids aren't the only people who feel betrayed. So does Devin, who is shocked to see Tori working with the enemy. And Tori tries to explain that she's not the enemy. She's just not buying Silver's BS. It doesn't matter. An all-out brawl starts. And the Miyagi-Do kids are completely outnumbered. Dimitri's been able to get the file, but he has to upload it to the official Cobra Kai YouTube page. That's going to take even more time. But he also knows it's time he doesn't have. He's going to have to upload this thing mobily because he can't just sit at the desk. And as he's trying to get out of there, Kyler and a bunch of others walk in. And Kyler right away starts making fun of Eli. It's going to be 3 versus 2, but Hawk doesn't really care. He's looking for revenge. And he beats the crap out of Kyler and the 2 others. Dimitri even gets in on the action because he's been wanting a piece of Kyler for a while. The good news is that video is uploading to YouTube. So with Kyler and his group down, that's when Hawk and Eli run down the steps and let Miguel and the rest of Miyagi-Do know that they've got the footage, it's uploading. But Kyler comes out from the back, knocks Eli over, and the tablet that is being used to upload the video goes flying. Anthony grabs it. And that's when the Miyagi-Do kids start enacting Protect the Egg. Kim, though, does not care about the egg whatsoever. She really wants to go at Tori. Sam comes to help out, but it's still a little too much for the girls. And that's when Devin joins in on the fight, but siding with the Miyagi-Do kids. She looks at Sam and tells her, "Go, save your brother. We've got this." And her and Tori once again team up, just like they did in practice a couple of days ago. And Anthony could absolutely use the help. The Cobra Kai kids just outnumber the Miyagi-Do kids by a lot, and they're converging in on Anthony pretty quickly. The good news is help has arrived. Stingray, Daniel, Amanda, they show up, and Amanda wants to call the cops, but the Cobra Kai kids outside let her know, "Go ahead. Your kids broke into our dojo." And Amanda realizes the cops aren't going to be an option. Stingray, though, isn't here to talk. Turns out the guy actually does have some karate skills, because he beats the crap out of all of the Cobra Kai students standing outside. And when the parents finally get into the dojo, they see just what a bad situation their kids are in. At this point, Amanda doesn't care. She's ready to call the cops. But she doesn't need to, because the video goes live and everybody gets distracted when it goes up on the television screens. Everybody sees what Silver did. The Cobra Kai kids finally see what the Miyagi-Do kids like Tori and Robbie were talking about. But as soon as the video ends, you hear Silver say, "That was your big plan?" Because Terry Silver entering the dojo went completely unnoticed. Everybody was watching the television. He starts ripping Daniel apart for this being his big plan. And Tori says it wasn't his plan. It was our plan. Terry tries to rally the Cobra Kai kids just like before, but this time, he's got nobody backing him. He tries to justify his actions, but still, nobody's with him. He then turns his attention once again to Daniel, challenging him to a fight. But unlike last time, Daniel has the support of pretty much everybody in the dojo. Him and Terry start throwing down, and Daniel enacts the Quicksilver method to defeat Terry. As Terry is laying on the ground, battered, bruised, embarrassed, the Cobra Kai kids walk by and just start throwing their Cobra Kai gear in his face. They're done. A little while later, the cops arrive. The cops get a revised statement from Stingray, who this time tells the truth, and it causes Terry Silver to be arrested and thrown in jail. Robbie walks up to Kenny to try to talk to him, but Kenny's still in shock. He tells Robbie, "Look, man, not right now." And he walks off, trying to process the fact that he was wrong. Robbie then goes up to Tori and says, "Yeah, I owe you an apology." And she says, "I owe you one too. But I'm not in the mood for that, so let's make out." And they do, and it's great. They aren't the only couple to get back together. Sam finally is able to bring up to Miguel the octopus necklace. Miguel even uses the L word, love. And how can you say no to love? Sam ends up taking Miguel back. Miguel ends up taking Sam back. They're together as well. As the teenagers are rekindling their relationship, Mike, Johnny, and Chosen show up. Chosen's really banged up, and as soon as Daniel sees him, he says, "We got to get you to a hospital." And he calls over an EMT to check on Chosen. All isn't lost for Mike Barnes either. He decided to take a parting gift from Terry Silver's place. A really expensive painting that he's going to use to sell and then maybe rebuild his furniture store. But it's not all good news. An off-handed comment by Daniel about John Kreese has all the cops turn their heads. Because that day, John Kreese staged his murder. He pretended to break up a fight in prison and he ended up getting stabbed. At least so everybody thought. When he got the EMTs alone, that's when he jumped up and took them all out. He put on a doctor's uniform and walked right out of the prison. And John Kreese is now on the loose. And that is the end to Cobra Kai Season 5. Thank you so much for getting this part of the recap. I really appreciate it. Consider subscribing to the channel and maybe becoming a member. Hit thumbs up if you like this. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. I have a Patreon link. You can become a member of that as well. You get stuff. I have shirts. You can buy stuff. And I have a comment section that I'm going to ask you be nice in. But let me know what you think of this season and what you expect for next season.